That's what they call them, right? The what are they?
Adrian,
there's like
the
3
one?
or 4 good emperors of Rome, and I think they just plainly call them the good emperors. There was only like 3 or 4.
Yeah, it was.
Look at Alexander the Great looking down his long Roman nose at the good ones.
Yeah,
Macedonian nose, and it was crafted by the gods. Okay, he's over there to the east.
I'm Alexander the Great, and you're Woody the Good. You're proud of yourself.
Woody the Good. Man, usually I do like the animal executions.
Who is your leader? Alexander the Great of Macedonia, Emperor of the free lands and Lord of the endless prairie. Oh shit!
Whose is yours?
Woody the Good.
No, it's Hannibal the
That's
Gay.
him. That's him over there riding the donkey.
You think that's bad? I served Kyle the not that bad.
Yeah. Dude, it's funny when I'll do this sometimes when I'm stoned. I'll just go through really old like lists of like who were the rulers of fucking Sweden in the 500s, and every once in a while, like after a string of like Eric Ericsson the Feared, there will be a guy where it's like Olaf the Inept. And then you like read about it, and it's like Olaf the Inept was known for frittering away his entire father's inheritance and losing untold amounts of resources in the Swedish highlands or whatever. And it's like, oh man,
one guy who was gay. There was that guy who was gay, and he created that like personal guard of super soldiers who had to be tall and handsome and wear mustaches.
Sick.
But he wouldn't let them fight because they were so precious to him. So he spent like huge amounts of money like making his own like Spartan 300 in some tiny European nation that could have used that money for grain. I remember that story.
Is it the Potsdam Giants? Where it was a Prussian infantry regiment where they all had to be a certain height, and it was more like, all right, when we're going to a foreign land and we bring like like 1 battalion of guys, we bring the Potsdam Giants, and they intimidate
That's
people.
really smart if you think about it. Like if you're from a faraway land and they're not familiar with you. It's like, remember when the Olympics happened and in Beijing, and the Chinese had that opening ceremony with like 10,000 people playing the drums perfectly, and it was scary as fuck. Like, I think that's the impression you want to make when you see the people from across the sea. You all want to be 6'6" with big mustaches and thick cocks. Like, you want them to see you and think that, and then you want to make some comment about like, yes, I couldn't bring my good regiment. These are the rejects. Yes, I couldn't cut it in the Marine Corps. They serve me as my fool's god, I call them. Come boys, if you can march. They're falling down, like really play down how tough they are when in reality you've squeezed your whole economy into making those giant men.
Looks like their minimum requirement to be a member of the Potsdam Giants was 6'2", and this is the year like this is like 1650. So that's those are some big boys.
Yeah, everybody was malnourished as fuck. So yeah, and they were just tinier people back then. You look at what they measured it obviously with World War II when you would enlist or be drafted or what have you. They check your weight. So many of those guys weighed like 140 pounds. Most of them were 140, and then they go through basic and they'd come out like 160, something like they gained like 15, 20 pounds in basic. A big part of that was obviously the working out, but they got a good meal for the first time in a while. There was a lot of poor country boys and such that, you know, that was the first time they'd had 3 good meals a day in a while.
That's why breakfast was pushed, is because of that. They were like, oh, fuck, like people are coming in here way underweight. We got to get these dudes eating more. Hey, have you ever heard of breakfast?
The most important meal of the day. It's where you get your first 7 servings of cereal. To make you big and strong.
What about second breakfast?
Yeah, scorpion.
When the Romans would come back and tell tales of elephants and giraffes, no one would believe them. They had to bring them back before people believed those animals were real. So when they would have those spectacles in Rome, which I think is fucking cool. Like I wish we did that.
Pretty sick.
They'd go to Germania, they'd beat the shit out of them, they conquer them, and then they come back with like a parade. And the parade would involve like all the Germanian treasure up on a parade float. And then they'd have the Germanian king up there too. They'd slap him around in front of everybody. Like, look what we did. They prop him up, put his stupid king
we don't
crown
conquer cool people anymore. We're gonna like win a war and be like, this is non-bread. And well, okay.
Boo! We want a cool guy.
We kind of did, like with Saddam. They kind of did that. I wonder if the U.S. had anything to do with, I don't know, that video of his execution getting out and like the whole thing. You saw Saddam get hung, right?
Yeah,
hanged.
Yeah, we all saw that one.
Yeah.
Hanged. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, Kyle. It's hanged when you're talking about a person.
Or dragged. It's never drugged. Well,
yeah.
Giving them, if you're hauling them somewhere, they're being dragged.
Honestly, that like going to the like, imagine you're a baker, you finish up your hard day of baking, and it's like, oh fuck, they've got the animal event at the Coliseum this evening. I'm absolutely going. And then you see wonders beyond your wildest dreams, and you have no conception of like how regal these animals are in the wild. You just have like some fat guy up there being like, and now the beasts from darkest Africa with their king atop. And it's just some guy like hog-tied to the top of a boar that they let run out there and then get speared. That's so much better than TV. Yeah, that would be sick. And
they would fill that thing with water. The fact that they would fill that thing with water and have naval battles out there, that must have been so cool. That must have been incredible. That they had boats out there like replicating naval fights and but with real people and killing them. That's awesome. I wish we still did that.
Same. We could just fill up like Ohio State Stadium with water.
Have those bumper boats, the round ones, the little outboard motors. Go to town.
Oh, I like that. We do like a pirate thing, but this time they're Somalis and in their little boat, their little motorboats going around trying to conquer each other on the seas. Have you gone through those deep dives, Scott, reading about the Coliseum and all the animal fights?
Yeah. I'm more into the gladiatorial shit, like between the guys. I like the Murmillos and shit like that. But like, yeah, I've seen the I saw them personally. I hopped in my time machine and I saw a Christian get killed by a lion.
That would be pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
It's the biggest animal you can take, Scott.
That's a tough one because like
in an octagon. No weapons. Like, that animal in an octagon.
Your natural habitat.
The first thing that comes to mind is a dog, but like I know I could take bigger than that. But I know there's no way bigger. What's that?
I could take I'm thinking blue whale. Fuck it up.
No, none of the sea stuff. No.
That's right. You just wait it out.
He's 100 feet long.
What about a moderate bear? Like
I was gonna say a bull, right? Because I could use the matador strategy. But instead of like stabbing it with shit, I just keep like running and gunning with it. I just like throw a couple punches and then just like get the hell out of there.
Throw a punch at the side of a bull's head, break your knuckles.
Let me just say this. Look, I'm no MMA fighter. I have punched a bull in the head before though. And I'm gonna tell you, it wasn't even close. It wasn't
really? Is it that bad?
It felt like it was 3 inches fucking thick. It felt like I was hitting like a piece of oak on an old Navy vessel or something that was like a tree. It felt like something that had no give. Like, and there's like curly Q hair up there too, softening the blow. And his head was as hard as a goddamn rock. Yeah. We tried to break the ribs on a dead pig one time because we watched Rocky. Rocky would practice on those. He practiced on those sides of beef, and he'd break the ribs. He was hitting it so hard, and I was like, I wonder if we can punch hard enough to break a pig's ribs. Turns out, nah. You just like twist your wrist sideways and like
it's a good way to get a wrist injury.
We're all walking around rubbing our wrists that day. And
what the fuck is this, bone? just fucking your hand up. Yeah. The people who like I know Kyle and I grew up around. I was going to say more cattle than the average person, but I guess most people don't have any cattle in their childhood. But like
cattle in the yard, cattle. Like every day seeing cattle, like wrangling cattle, and
you underestimate the size and speed and toughness of those animals if you haven't been around them. Like if Brock Lesnar is like, hey Brock, you've got to knock out this just run of the mill cow, just right in the forehead, hard as you can, Brock. Like the cow's going to look at him like with hurt eyes. Like, what have I done to offend you? That almost bothered me a little. Like Brock Lesnar would hurt his hand. Like it's just a plate of bone, just nothing but bone up there. It's got no brains to protect hardly.
We had one go feral one time. We moved and it didn't get caught in time, so it lived in the forest and went feral. And it got caught again eventually and returned to us, and it went crazy when we turned it loose in our pasture. And it was trying to tear through a fence to get to the highway, and Dad was on the other side of the fence fighting it with a shotgun, like beating it with the butt of the shotgun, and it's trying to kill him. It's actively trying to get to him, and he's hitting her in the face with the shotgun saying, "Go back, go back, go back." And finally she's halfway through and he boom shoots her in the neck. And on the other side of the fence where she's trying to get to is a ditch. We're on the side of the road. Then, he's standing in the road and the ditch is there and then the fence, and she falls neck under her 2,000-pound body into the ditch upside down. And Dad comes back to the house, which isn't very far away, it's within eyesight, and starts calling to get the cow processed because we're not going to let a whole cow of meat rot on the ground. And they're like, "How much does he weigh?" And he's like, "I don't know." And he looks up to and she's up again. She's gotten up and she's torn through that fence and crossed that road. And now she's running through a different field yonder way toward Highway 17, which is where semi trucks and shit go past.
Damn.
So Dad gets in the truck and starts chasing her with a cattle trailer attached through ditches, across fields, through fences, just tearing through them. The whole thing is so loud you can hear it from our house. Bang, 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 bang. Because the trailer doors are all open, like nothing's secure. He's just driving. And she hears him coming and stops, turns around and charges the truck. He turns the truck sideways so his window is facing her and grabs his rifle and points it out the window and gives her one to the chest and drops her in that field. And then we took her to the processor place and we ate her for the next 2 years. They're tough.
And all's well that ends well. But yeah, they're incredibly tough. They're giant animals. Like so it's sweet. Because they're nice that they don't fuck you up, and because they're like dogs in that I always enjoyed it as a very young kid when my grandpa would go out there, and for some reason I had it in my head that he had trained his cows when really it was just naturally when he would start yelling at him and shaking that big Elmer 5-gallon bucket that he used to scoop the feed out. You could they could be all the way across in a different pasture, and if you picked up that bucket and went shuk, not even shuk, just one shuk, one of them would pick up on it, then all the rest would pick up on it, and there would just be a huge flow of cattle coming back. And I was so impressed. I'm like, wow, my grandpa's a farmer. He's trained all of his cows like dogs. And it's no, they're just hungry and they're smart. Probably as smart as most dogs.
Absolutely as smart as a dog. And they do exactly what you're talking about. You can call them and shake that bucket of feed, and they drop what they're doing and come running in a straight line. They're real smart. I always felt bad about, catching their babies and selling them, which is what we did every spring.
That's the world they're in, though. They wouldn't be alive if we weren't eating them, right? Justified somehow.
I guess.